Okay, want to know where to find brands on brands on brands this fall? At Ross. They've got big savings on the latest fall styles. Seriously, you'll find the brands you want at prices you'll love. At Ross. Yes, for less.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Achieving a gorgeous grin from home isn't a total mystery with Bite Clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all of your sleuthing friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Bite Clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces. Plus, they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
Whatever you have your phone up ready to do right now.
I don't know. All I'm saying is that I am here to give you my boots on the ground report from this year's 75th Primetime Emmy Awards. And before I said anything, because I'm talking about an award show, I just thought it was appropriate. That was it.
Listeners, what other podcast has a boots on the ground reporter that was inside the Emmys? Do you hear yes, no, maybe so?
Well, I think the answer to that question is probably like dozens of them, but only one that you're listening to now has one. Yes,
correct.
Currently,
Dominic, tell us everything.
I got to go to the Emmys this year. I was the +1 from my friend Amanda, who's an executive producer of The Voice. And
you've heard of it.
Maybe you've heard of this small international talent show. And I've known Amanda for many decades. We used to work together in the last century on the Ricky Lake Show. And she has won an Emmy.
You're such
it was. And she and her colleagues have won the award before for The Voice. But the juggernaut that is RuPaul's Drag Race has been sort of sweeping it recently, except for last year when Lizzo's Let's Have a Cake with the Big Girls. I think that's the name of that show. Eating Cake with the Big Girls. That's not the title? Whatever. Something with the big girls. What is it called? Pastries with the Big Girls. So that won Best Competition Show. And so they get nominated every year because the show is great. And I got to go. Yeah. I have never been to an award show before. And I have recapped billions of them over the past 100 years. And
you're an award show. Like, I think I'm an award show slut. Like, you're an actual award show. Like, you love award shows. Like, I think that I love award shows until you and I get in a room together and you love award shows way more than me. And
absolute whore for award shows. I can't. I mean, maybe love award shows.
It's something about you that I know is that you love award shows. Like, if I had to write down 5 facts about Dominic, like he loves award shows would be like the first thing I would write down.
And I love them sometimes more than the products that they are awarding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, correct.
I don't know. I guess I just have always loved as a producer, just the challenge of producing something that isn't boring to people who maybe aren't into pop culture very much. That I've always sort of admired when someone's able to pull off a really well-produced award show, which I thought last night's was.
I thought it was great.
I thought it was tight. They finished early, actually, which is an accomplishment.
They finished right on time. It was like 11 p.m. and it was like, boop, like the news came on.
And when I told some of my friends that it was the first award show that I'd ever been to. A couple of them reminded me that I have in years past gone to the VMAs. I'm willing to, in a bar, have a lengthy
Dominick,
discussion about why the VMAs are not an award show, but I will not do it on this podcast.
I mean, Dominick,
how dare you?
Yeah,
how dare you?
Sure. Okay, moving right along.
Do they hand out awards at the VMAs? Yes.
Sure.
Is it a show? It is, of course.
Do I hand out awards in my living room sometimes? Is that an award show? No. You know what I'm saying? Like,
do I vacuum the house sometimes in the nude? Yes. Does that make me Madonna? No. Joan Cusack, working girl. Not the exact line, but blah, blah, blah. So I was, to be honest with you, I was a little nervous. I was like in sort of a don't meet your heroes type of way where I'm like, what if I go and I hate it so much?
Yeah.
If I hate it so much that I'm never going to like award shows again. That wasn't the case. I will tell you that we walked the red carpet because my friend Amanda and her colleagues were nominated.
Was a nominee.
Yes. So that was the most interesting and intense part of the evening, because you go in there as a civilian, and I have my phone ready because I'm just going to take pictures of everyone, post them on the Fixing Famous People Instagram page, look super cool on socials, blah, blah, blah. But it is so much more intense.
You immediately at 7:18 p.m. you sent us a picture of Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker, and you said, what are they doing here?
And I still don't. I know he was drumming in one of the segments. Not even a good enough answer. This is Dominick, to award excellence. Get out.
I'm putting on my tinfoil hat because I swear to you, like in the past, since he has been with Kourtney, he is the only person that has drummed on any award stage since he has married her, that it is. And I'm someone who, like, I was the Blink-182 like core audience age. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, demographic.
Right.
So like if he would have been at the Oscars doing a drum set, like I would have been like, that's Travis Barker. Like I know who he is outside of being Kourtney's husband. And like, he has not drummed on a stage for an award show until he started being with her.
Right.
And I think it's a conspiracy that they want her to show up at all the award shows. And
it worked.
Make him like, truly.
It worked. When we entered the red carpet, they were the first people that we saw. And so I took a picture. And then there are so many famous people in one place at the same time. You just sort of, I put my phone away. This is impossible.
No, it was too much. Look at you only have so much film.
I won't remember being here. I won't remember being here. I'd rather just see all of the people and remember having seen them rather than try to take pictures like an old man with my phone, which I still half the time don't even know how to take a picture with quickly. And I need two hands to do it. Yeah. So we saw them, and then it was just one, like in the most bizarre presentation. It's like, there's Daniel Radcliffe. There's Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman. There's Elizabeth Debicki, who played Princess Diana in the Crown. And it kept going one after the other. And at this morning or yesterday morning, everyone said, well, who did you meet? Who did you see there? And it sounds so weird, but you just say everybody. Like everyone's in this room at the same time. It's so weird just to see. It was a pop culture fever dream. And I couldn't believe that I'd never been before, but I was almost glad. You know, I've been a comedian for 30 years and I've been a television producer for that long as well. And I'd never been to an award show because it turns out I'm actually not good at either of the things that I've been doing for the past 30 years. So it was really good to know how mediocre I was that I'm 74 and this was the first red carpet I was on.
Oh, don't worry. When the Real Housewives of New Jersey was nominated for a People's Choice Award, me and all of the other producers were like, well, this is the closest we'll ever get to being nominated for an Emmy, so we might as well just pretend like we're nominated.
I was nominated many years ago for a daytime Emmy when I had a very, very brief stint as a senior producer on Divorce Court. But other than that, that's it. With a couple of VMA visits with my friends who worked at MTV at the time, I had not been to an award show. It was super fun. But that hour or that half hour, however long it was when you're walking down the red carpet is very, very intense and just it was sort of like being on the floor of the stock exchange back when the brokers used to be on the floor screaming
and like
and
screaming at each
shit.
other. Yeah.
That's what it was. It was like the pop culture stock exchange where people are just screaming celebrities' names and, trying to get them to come over to their booths and their cameras. E was there. Our Bible, of course, People and people.com was there.
Literally the altar that we pray at, people.com.
And what we will post on the Fixing Famous People Insta page, if you go there, was my friend Amanda and I found a little spot on the red carpet where we wanted to take a picture of ourselves. And then Jon Hamm walked right in front of the phone, and you'll see on the Insta page the look on my face as I'm gazing up at the insanely tall Jon Hamm.
Unbridled glee is what I would describe it
so
as.
Bizarre. Not the least of which is that before I got to the red carpet, when I was Ubering there, my friend texted me and just said, please do what you can to see Jon Hamm's penis. I didn't know that moments later I would come very
face to
close.
face, cock to cock with it.
He's also not cock to cock because Jon Hamm is so tall and I am so short that my face is literally at the same, would it be latitude or longitude as the Hamaconda? So So it was, I came very, very close.
Yeah, this picture's good. And know that Rebecca, P.S., we're so remiss to not have done this before, but we were supposed to in the height of basically everything we say on the show coming true, we were supposed to say, Jon Hamm should have sex with Rebecca Bregman. And when you set this picture off, she's a Jon Hamm head, from way back when. So seeing this picture, she literally just immediately texted back, I'm dead. And I was honestly concerned for a second.
I was involved in many group texts during the show with different groups of friends. And it was a blast. It was an absolute, I was going to live tweet from there, but it just became too complicated.
No. You got to soak it in. So
I don't worry about my performance as much in the group texts as I do with the public socials. So, if jokes fall flat with you queens, I don't normally give a shit, but I just needed to be at the top of my game. And it was LA Live. The venue was ginormous.
It looked humongous.
It was humongous. And it was just a lot of fun. The seat that, I went to the gym that morning at Sunset Plaza here. I went to Crunch.
Stop bragging.
And there were some twinks outside the steam rooms just sort of soliciting, posing, whatever they do to old people like me before they walk into the steam room, which I did not do, for the record.
Color me surprised.
I was the same here. I was in a rush. Those twinks, they were seat fillers at the Emmys later. I kid you not. I kid you not.
Well, Dominic, that's who's a seat filler. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
yeah,
for sure. I guess they didn't get lucky at the steam room that day.
We have so much to unpack. So where do we want to talk about the Emmys as a show? Do we want to talk about your run-ins with celebrities? Do we want to talk about your dreams coming true when Joan Collins walked on stage? Where do we start and where do we end?
Let me tell you, when The Voice, the category that I was there for my friend Amanda, when The Voice did not win, we then decided to get up and go have a drink at the bar during that break. So you get up, the seat fillers take your seats, and you're not allowed back in until the next commercial break, for obvious reasons. So when we were waiting in the wings to come back, we could hear the announcer say, coming up, Jason Bateman. And my friend Amanda almost passed out because she's madly in love with him. And she drew breath and was like, oh my God. And then they said another couple of names. And then they said, and Joan Collins. And I screamed, bloody murder screamed.
Dominic, on the show, they said Dame Joan Collins.
That's right. That's right. They put respect on her dame.
They were like, Dame Joan Collins. And I texted you all capitals, 911, Dame Joan Collins coming up.
I was there. My friend Amanda was picking me up off the floor. Yep. Yes. Picking me up off the floor. And we were laughing hysterically because we both screamed at this tease.
Different people.
But for different people, different centuries, basically.
Yeah,
all of it.
polar ice caps. Yeah.
And so there were a lot of standing ovations that night, maybe a few too many. Like people were popping up and down. It was like being in church on crack.
Yeah.
It was utterly
well,
ridiculous.
I will say they were throwing everyone at us. Like it wasn't like they had one person that came out that was like, oh, okay, like we should clap for like this person deserves it. They were giving us like full casts of TV shows that you haven't seen in 35 years. So
Totally.
Yeah.
But we don't need to pop up and down every time. I mean, every time Jennifer Coolidge wins something, I got to get out of my seat.
No,
it's
how
been
dare
like she's
you,
the woman of the
Dominick.
century. I will not back
Dominick,
down from it.
She thanked us directly.
I mean, the evil gaze line was the line of the night. The moment of the night was Brian Cox kissing Kieran Culkin for me. That was
why are these men kissing
moment.
each other on the lips? I started this whole thing with Mark Ruffalo and Rami Youssef. Like I saw that kiss. Now we have this kiss, and then the people at the Bear were basically making out on stage for like 45 minutes.
They were fingering each other.
Yeah,
like, on live television.
What's happening? Question mark.
I think people are just getting more expressive. I mean, I think men kiss. They should be able to kiss on the lips whenever they want to. They can practice on me. Not Brian Cox, but Kieran Culkin could. By the way, I had a run-in with Kieran Culkin at the governor's ball afterwards.
No.
Yes.
And
he was he was running around and everyone wanted a picture with him. And
of course,
Amanda and I tried to get as close as we can. And I screamed, Kieran, can we get a picture? And he whipped around and looked me directly in the eye. And with a little bit of attitude said, I have to get back to my wife. And then he walked away and I looked at Amanda and I said, I guess that's a good reason for not taking a picture with someone. Is she in labor or something? Like, I don't understand. You're at the Emmy Awards. You should have expected this. But I'm still a fan.
And you were a winner. Like you won. So like now everyone definitely, and Dominick, by the way, I will bring up that during our Succession episode, you called that he was going to win all of the awards and not Jeremy Strong.
And he did. He did because they'd already awarded him. They'd already
was that a fix? Was that a fix coming true? No, but am I treating it as it was? Yes.
Let's take a small tangent here while we're on this subject. I do not understand why Succession submitted Brian Cox in the lead actor category when spoiler alert, if you didn't watch this last season of Succession, we'll give you a countdown. I have the perfect music for the countdown if you want to avoid hearing the spoiler. Are you ready for it? You have 5 seconds to leave the room. Anyway, Brian Cox's character dies in like the 3rd or 4th episode. Why was he nominated as lead actor? If he had been nominated for supporting, he would have
make sense.
He would have won the award, and it would have a great actor in a great iconic role would have been given his due. Instead, when they won for Best Series, Jesse Armstrong, the creator, had to call him out specifically because he was the only of the leads to get through all the seasons of the show without winning anything. Without winning an Emmy anyway, which he should have, because he wasn't. Him being in the lead category, to me, was just as ridiculous as The Bear being nominated for comedy.
Yeah.
No one understands this.
But it's because they probably put themselves there because they knew that they would lose to Succession.
Right, but doesn't someone at the Television Academy get to say, hold, let me watch this and see if this is in the right category? Like, did they just say, oh, you think you're a comedy? Okay. It made no sense. The Bear is a fantastic television program.
It's a drama.
Struggling to think of a time I laughed when I watched it.
Yeah. It's not funny. I'll tell you that much. It's like, I mean, it is, there are parts that are funny, but it is a drama.
It's suicide in the first episode, for God's sakes. Like, what are we even talking about? Like, how is this is not a comedy? It's not a black comedy. It's nothing. It's a drama, a good one. Very silly. Anyway. I thought that the show was good. I thought that the reunions were wonderful. It's so hard to reinvent something that you've seen so much of. And I think reuniting these casts and looking back on iconic television shows is something they could do every year. Because you could do 4 or 5 every year. Just look back,
And not for nothing, it's like, it's seemingly low-hanging fruit, but like just going back to the I Love Lucy chocolate conveyor belt, it's like, it'll never get old.
No,
Like, it
I
wasn't
thought
even
it was
that fun.
funny.
It wasn't even that good, and it was still amazing. Like, and you just think back to like, wow, that's like her doing that sketch changed the world. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, you really think about like, and even when Carol Burnett came out, and like they didn't even really show any of the Carol Burnett show. She just talked, and it was, you really sit there and you're like, wow, this person revolutionized comedy for women.
Sure.
Period. Like, you know what I mean? It's sad that other generations will not understand who these people are. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. And these shows are a chance for them to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Because
for
it's a
sure.
great, I loved the shows that they picked. I mean, I don't know if they were random or not, but like Martin, Cheers, All in the Family was obvious because of Norman Lear, but
Yeah.
like Ally McBeal, which I haven't thought about in quite some time.
Yeah.
And it's been, that show was on 25 years ago. That is
Yeah.
insane because I remember being in my 20s when that show came out, and it was just, everyone talked about it all the
Yeah.
time. Everybody loved it.
That was when I was too young for, but like as you grow up, like people older than me were always like, oh my God, I loved Ally McBeal whenever I was like your age. Like that, people always said that to me.
I feel like it's very of the moment in a way that if you were to go back and watch it, you'd probably be bored a little
Like,
bit.
what the hell is this? Yeah.
Kind of like, I think the
but
stuff
you
that
can-
was groundbreaking in it wouldn't seem groundbreaking.
I would be like,
now.
huh? But I can put myself in the place of like, oh, this, I mean, much like plug in an upcoming Patreon episode, I put myself back into 1991 as a little fetus baby to like watch Madonna's Truth or Dare. So it's like, I feel that I could do that and be like, oh yeah, at the time this was like a big deal.
Sure.
But I do want to go back and watch it. It was like, I mean,
maybe you'll enjoy it. By the way, Calista Flockhart looks fantastic. And I know
her facelift is looking great.
She looks great. Whatever it took, she looks great.
All this to say, the actual Emmys, a delight.
Yes, I agree. The show moved really well. Everyone's speeches were sort of short and impactful, you know?
Okay, in the actual theater, did you see, did they put on a screen like, this person would like to thank these people?
No.
They did at home on the lower third. They basically said like, Quinta Brunson would like to thank, and then it was like lists of people, so you didn't have to be like my agent and this person and this person and this person. Like those, all the like seemingly like
I love that.
Like, you know, businessy people, not like my parents and blah blah. They put on the lower third, so they didn't have to do that, and I think that was really effective.
Yeah, they've done that on other award shows in the past. I do think it's a good idea, and it made the speeches better. They didn't show that
the speech about like their personal life, which like is what we want to hear. I don't want to hear them thanking like the random executives at the whatever network. Like,
they definitely did not show that in the room. There were no graphics, but I mean, there were screens where we could more easily see the stage, but there were no graphics. I thought almost everything about the show was good. There were like a couple of confusing moments, i.e. what's wrong with Martin Lawrence, but other than that, it was pretty flawless. And also, what is wrong with Martin Lawrence?
That was concerning.
I don't think I'm reading about that enough afterwards.
No, and he seemed confused. Like, and I'm saying this earnestly, like this isn't a joke. Like he seemed confused to be there, and he stumbled over his words. And someone emailed me recently and was like, "Was he drunk?" And I was like, "I don't even think it was that. I think I don't know. Is he okay?" And that's earnest.
It could be possible that he was just terrified that Tisha Campbell was going to beat the shit out of him on live television, because I don't know when their feud settled, but that's the reason there's been no Martin reunion until now. I believe, couldn't stand him. So I don't know. I guess they got back together. Any chance I have to see Tashina Arnold do or say anything, though, I will take advantage of. I have always thought she was the best part of that show, and I absolutely love her. And she was hilarious.
They were great. They all were good. That was legitimately funny. Like I was like, oh, this is fun. Like I'm enjoying this. The cast of Always Sunny, I thought they were just being their characters on stage, which hilarious.
It was a great bit.
It was great. Like it was just them being their characters, which I loved.
Now, speaking of where's Shelley, which we weren't, where was Shelley Long during the Cheers reunion?
I don't know.
Not even that, but they didn't even like mention that she wasn't there.
No, I don't know. That was there was a few question marks for me.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like sometimes you want to go where everybody forgets or deliberately doesn't mention your name, Shelley Long.
Where is Shelley Long?
I don't know. When we say where's Shelley, apparently we mean
Are we
all
yeah,
Shelleys.
no, like should we add that at the end? Because where is Shelley Long?
You want the tagline of this podcast to now be where's Shelley Long?
And
Where's Shelley's?
Dominick, where is she? Can you answer the
question?
Where
are all the Shelleys? Where are all the Shelleys?
Yeah, you're right about that. Anthony Anderson's mom being the person telling them to wrap it up, in my opinion, was the funniest shit ever. She's on like all of the shows now. Hassan watches the show where like you have to try to guess who's like a liar and who's not. I don't know what
she's also Joe Biden's vice president, vice presidential nominee.
She should be, honestly.
Speaking of the election, it was really funny in the room, and you did hear conversations once in a while. It's like, oh, thank God these awards are finally being presented. It's like, well, today's the Iowa caucus. We're like actively involved in 2 wars that we know about. It's Martin Luther King Day, and we're here like having an industry circle jerk. It did feel a little weird, but then they would just play the music and we all got back into it.
And then
it was like, pretty funny.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, it is frivolous, but I just remembered we are frivolous people. And the award goes to beef. Yeah.
To quote Kat Pappas, I haven't done it in a long time. We are not a serious country.
We are not a serious country. We are not.
Okay,
you know what's really good though about award shows when you're in California? When the shows are done,
you end at 6 p.m. It's like it was 7 o'clock when you left.
And you can go to a ball afterwards if one's available because at 11 o'clock at an award show when you're in New York, I'm wasted. So I can't do anything except ask people to leave or for someone to put me in an Uber. But for this, we're ready to go to a party.
It was dinner time for you. Yeah.
Yes.
I always think about that. Like I've never lived on the West Coast. So I've never experienced like what we know as prime time for them to be like 4 o'clock. Do you know, like when it's like, oh, here's this new thing premiering. It's like, no, it's at 8 o'clock for us. Like,
here's one other observation from the red carpet that I really truly did notice, and I know this will sound funny, but I was serious. I'm seeing a lot of sun damage on male faces in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like a shocking amount of age spotted, I golf too much forehead nonsense. Like I was very surprised because I thought that California was like the SPF capital of the world, that people just all slathered their bodies in it before they went out, but noticeably more on men than women, I will say. I don't really have a discussion about it. I just want everyone to know I'm concerned.
No, and you know what? It looks just so bad. And this is not like wrinkles or whatever. It's like sun damage.
I have a little bit on my high cheeks, but no one would ever know because I powder the shit out of myself before I leave the house. You'll never know.
There are some people, and not even that old, that like when even their chests, like they'll have like their chest, like their shirt buttoned down, and it's like it's like sun damage to the hilt, and it does not look good.
Speaking of damage, speaking of unsightly damage, I tucked all of my necks under that bow tie. I don't know. People are like, oh, you don't need a neck lift. I'm like, if I take off this bow tie, it is literally it would be like an oxygen mask dropping from the ceiling for you on a plane. That's what's happening with these necks. And the key too, if I did a red carpet again, I would hire a PA or an intern to follow me and take all the pictures. Like that's the best way to do it. If you can get like a +2, that's the way. So you don't want to be bothered doing because you want to enjoy the experience. Just have someone follow you. Maybe that's why everyone has their assistant on the red carpet and they all look so calm. Maybe they're secretly just taking pictures of them next to Helen Mirren, who wasn't there, but I just didn't want an hour to go by without saying the words Helen Mirren.
Circling back really quickly. What an effective way that was less rude, surprisingly, to get the people to wrap up their speech and make it be funny than Anthony Anderson's mom yelling at them. Mm-hmm. Like when the music plays, it's like you're like, oh wow, that's rude. When she was standing up with the sign that said like time with a cross out symbol, that was fucking hilarious.
Thought it was so clever. I thought it was so clever.
Like it really, she needs to be employed by all these shows. Like if she just did this for every show, like I would love it.
What a stroke of genius seating her behind Harrison Ford, of all people.
Dying.
Fantastic. I will tell you, I led one of the standing ovations, and I looked at my friend Amanda, and I said, the moment Dame Joan comes out here, I will be popping up first, mostly so my friends can see me when watching at home, but also because she deserves it. And she came out. I popped up the first person in the audience. A couple of other, who I would assume elder gays scattered around the audience did the same. I looked at my section. I just said, get up. She's 90. And they looked panicked because I looked unhinged. And they got up right away and stood for Alexis.
What did people say?
They looked terrified and then laughed. They absorbed my obvious glee at her coming out, because I don't think I've ever been in a room with Joan Collins before. I mean, this was a big fucking room, but I can now say that I was in a room with Joan Collins. We have gone to the same events.
Now, speaking of the governor's ball, now we need to talk about 2 interactions that you had. One of which being Miss Nicey Nash-Betts.
Unbelievable. I mean, she gave, to me, without question, she gave the speech of the night, her acceptance 100%. Speech, where she thanked a handful of people and then thanked herself extensively. And it was moving and hilarious and perfect. She also looked not real. She looked so perfect. Even up close, she looked like a giant doll. I mean, she just looked absolutely perfect. I am assuming that she had detachable nipples that she left home before the broadcast. Because I don't understand how it was.
Cup runneth over.
She looked like an actual Barbie doll, like a real life hourglass shaped Barbie doll.
And that is like in a good way. Like, I'm not saying this to be mean. It's truly, it defied the laws of physics.
She was very gracious, because I could tell that she was she wanted a little bit of a break. And like, I just made that tiny bit of eye contact with her, which I was like, can I please, before you eat that, what were they serving? Like lobster rolls and shit. I was like, before you eat that lobster
in a bag, roll, right?
I was like, can I please take a picture with you? And she was like, yes, of course. Let me stand up. And it was lovely. I mean, I just, what did I say to her? I was like, I'm just so in awe of your whole journey. It was like, you were sort of introduced to me as a gay icon on Reno 911. And now 100%. You've just become an even gayer icon in a totally different area of your life. And she smiled and said, thank you. And then we took the picture. She was just lovely. But then a giant. I mean, so well deserved too.
Beyond. And know that I once saw her in the Marmara Park Avenue Hotel when Tinsley lived there, when we were shooting Real Housewives of New York.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God. And Tinsley was like, who, what? Like, what? And I go, and I grabbed Tinsley by the shoulders and I like shook her and I was like, that's Nicey Nash. Like, get out of my way. And like, like tried to like chase and basically almost tried to chase her. And then I had to like get my wits about me to be like, I can't like assault this woman like in the like lobby of her hotel. Like I have to like give her like, her space and like her safety. And so then I like stood down and Tinsley was like, you're being insane.
Claws, but if you haven't seen it, Claws is a criminally underrated television program that I wish was still on. It was fantastic. And she is its nucleus. She's the reason it's a success, was a success. I'm surprised it's
was
gone.
She just as beautiful up close as you thought that she
was? Beyond. Yeah. Like she was just flawless and beautiful and just great, kind, giving energy. Not like Kieran Culkin, who punched me in the face and said, get off my wife.
Okay. Now moving right along, and then we really should go.
Yes.
Tell me
this
about
was a
Marla
moment.
Gibbs.
We were ready to leave. Amanda's colleagues had left, and Amanda said, Dominick, Marla Gibbs is right there. And I looked and I saw a figure in the dark alone walking over to a table. And I said, that's not Marla Gibbs. No one's going to leave her alone like that. And then she sat at a table and sat there alone. And then she went under the light and I saw it was her. I had a piece of ice cream cake in my hand. And once I realized it was her, I threw it down on the table and looked at Amanda and I said, we're doing this right now. My friend Mark and I have a decades long obsession with all things Marla Gibbs, the Jeffersons, 227, all of it. When I turned 50 a few years ago, Mark and my other best friend Adam got me a cameo from Marla Gibbs, and I should put this on the Fixing Famous People Insta because
she's
it
on
is
cameo.
Oh yeah, it is 2 minutes of her sitting in a chair going, Dominic, happy birthday. Don't smoke too much weed now, or at least save some for me. It is hilarious. I am going to put it on the page. If we don't make it on there for this week, we'll have it up there for next week. But just to meet her, and I sat down next to her and I said, is it okay if I take a picture with you? She couldn't have been friendlier. And I told her the whole story about the cameo, which, you know, there's no fucking way she remembers it. And she was laughing her ass off, and we took the pictures. You know, when you're taking a picture in the dark and sometimes it takes your iPhone a minute and there's like a light goes on and it's just taking seconds to take it.
Truly like the Starship Enterprise is like booting up in your phone.
It was, it was torture. And I'm like, so whoever's supposed to be handling Marla Gibbs is going to look over here any second and come over and be like, leave this woman alone.
Yeah. Like chase you away with a stick. Yeah.
It was great. And she looked at me and said, and she took my hand before I left. I said, thank you. She goes, Happy New Year. And I just said, can I please give you a hug? And she was like, of course. And she was truly just lovely. And we were at the next table for about 5 or 10 minutes. And every minute or so, my friend Amanda would say, just FYI, Marla Gibbs is still sitting alone at that table. And I was like, if another minute goes by, we're going to join her and we're going to get her more meal. But then another meal. And then her friends came over and ate with her, and then I guess went home. But the bottom line is that Marla Gibbs stayed at this party longer than me, and she is 1 billion years older than I. So Marla Gibbs can hang is the point, and Dominic Pupa no longer can. That was it.
She having fun?
She was having a blast. She was probably in a better mood than anyone else in that room, to be honest with you.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
She was just thrilled to be there. And when she presented too, she was funny as fuck. To be honest, talking about the wage gap.
Great.
Yeah, saying I need to keep working for another 20 years.
Yeah,
or I can't
it was hilarious.
Really hilarious stuff. And I will say this, since we're fresh off the Golden Globes fiasco, that the writers for the Emmys, I thought, did a really solid job, sort of capturing the moment, not getting too political. I thought it was really, you can tell that many people worked very hard on the show. And as far as award shows go, I would say a very solid A from me.
And they took our note. Guess what? Like very few of them did was go blah, blah, do that thing that I flipped out about last week about being like, editing is so great. And then be like, blah, blah, what? And then like do
there was
crazy,
none of that.
Like,
there was none of that. It was fantastic. There was none of it. They didn't do like a worshiping of the craft in a way that would turn off anyone who's not in the industry. Like they made the show for everybody. And it's a shame because I'm just hearing that it was the lowest rated Emmys yet, which sucks because it was actually a very entertaining 3 hours of television. Oh, well. I mean, all this to say.
Yes, quoting me.
The Emmys have been, as award shows in general, have been fixed by this podcast, obviously, because so many of our notes were taken. We must now move on to a new entity to fix.
This Halloween, ghoul all out with Instacart. Whether you're hunting for the perfect costume, eyeing that giant bag of candy, or casting spells with eerie decor, we've got it all in one place. Download the Instacart app and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Plus, enjoy $0 delivery fees on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Service fees, other fees, and additional terms apply. Instacart, bringing the store to your door this Halloween.
It's better over here. AT&T customers, switching to T-Mobile has never been easier. We'll pay off your existing phone and give you a new one free, all on America's largest 5G network. Visit T-Mobile.com/carrierfreedom to switch today.
Pay off up to $650 via virtual prepaid MasterCard in 15 days. Free phone up to $830 via 24 monthly bill credits plus tax. Qualifying port-in, trade-in service on Go 5G Next and credit required. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue bill credits or credit stop and balance and required finance agreement is due.
I call them the Page Six Boys. I'm not sure if anyone else does. I'm assuming people do, but maybe not, ? It is Danny and Evan from the Virtual Reality Podcast from Page 6. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us. Very excited and curious and scared to see what's going to go on.
No, we are so excited. This is a subject that is close to my heart, Jamie Lynn Spears. So
when I sent you guys the list, it was like an immediate email back being like, obviously it's Jamie Lynn Spears, period, end of email. Like it was like not even, there was no discussion. It was like, we are doing Jamie Lynn Spears, like moving right along.
I looked at some of the people you guys have done. There have been some hard people you guys have tried to, help. But I was like, I want to see these boys squirm. I want to see y'all go through the ringer and be put to the test.
Well, we have fixed them all fully. Whether or not they have taken our advice, that's on them after this. We can only do so much.
Guys, surprisingly, people have come, like truly people have listened to our advice. Do we think they've heard this podcast? Unclear. Have they done exactly what we said that they should do? Yes.
Okay. Ooh.
And please know that one of those people, and the first one to do it, was Mr. Tom Sandoval, who took my advice and went on Howie Mandel. I didn't say Howie Mandel, but I said he should go on. I didn't say go on Howie Mandel's podcast, my nemesis, by the way. I did. I said he should go on a podcast, not a Bravo affiliated podcast or anything, like a podcast that has nothing to do with reality television, and tell his side of the story and just like lay it bare. And that's exactly, for better or for worse, what he did.
He truly laid it bare. He shaved. Yeah.
That's it. Literally bare.
Yeah. Really took your advice to the next level, because not only did he not go to a Bravo affiliated podcast, he went to a podcast where the host knew absolutely not one part of the Scandival story.
Correct.
Insane. Deliberate and insane.
So a safe space for him.
Yeah.
Now, before we dive in, I just want to say I love the term Page 6 boys, because you could be, it could be a burlesque act, or it could be teenage private detectives. You know, it could be literally like the Page 6 boys. It's whatever you want it to be. It's fine.
I mean, the Zoom filter must be good if you think I could be a teenage detective. I'm very grateful for your Riverside link.
Yeah, we're in 720p. That's why.
Yeah. A teenage detective or a burlesque dancer. Either sounds great to me. Sounds like a show idea, like a live show idea for Sonia Morgan.
Oh, and like we could be the reality Von Teasers. Yes. Well,
oh dear God.
Oh, we'll do full tassels. Yeah. My tassels would just be CVS receipts spinning round and round.
Now, usually at the top, we ask our guests to guess the middle name of the person we're fixing. Obviously, that can't happen this week. So instead, this week, for absolutely no reason, I'm going to ask the three of you to guess what Kathy Bates' middle name is. Her connection to Jamie Lynn Spears, there is none. But we're still going to proceed with this because I like Kathy Bates. Oh, look, we can play 6 Degrees of Jamie Lynn Spears. Now you're going to connect her to Kathy Bates, Danny.
Well, I was going to say, like, there's that, like how that TikToker was like Stassi's related to Gypsy Rose. I feel like there's a 9th degree something of Jamie Lynn and Kathy Bates.
Well, guys, Brittany did the Titanic reference in her song Oops, I Did It Again. So there we go.
Okay, this is a very loose connection, but it is a connection. See, this is why the Page 6 boys are private detectives right here. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Do you know Kathy's middle name? Danny, your face is
I'm looking at it right now, yes. Yeah. I am.
Why do I want to go
with Lynn? Is it Lynn?
I was going to guess Lynn.
I was going to say Brenda.
No.
Okay.
Kathy Brenda Bates.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you got Brenda Bates? Oh.
Okay. I guessed Lynn and you said it was wrong. Danny guesses Brenda. Evan, you also guessed Lynn, I'm guessing. And it's
I'm glad we chose Kathy Bates for a billion reasons, but for this reason, most of all, to announce to the world that her middle name is Doyle. D-O-Y-L-E, Doyle. Yep.
Kathy Doyle Bates.
This is when Doyle, call Dyfus. I'm like, how are you giving a daughter that as a middle name?
It's got to be a family name,
probably
right?
a family name.
Yeah.
D-Y-F-U-S? Oh, wait, no, I spelled Dyfus, not Doyle.
D-O-Y-L-E. Dyfus.
I'm just saying, if I was a teacher and they're like, "Hey, I'm Kathy Doyle Bates," I'd be like, "I'm calling
the
CPS.
police.
Like, what's
the
happening?"
Police.
Here's the connection between Kathy Bates and Jamie Lynn Spears, even stronger than Evan's Titanic reference.
But wait, guys. When your sister, the person that is 0 degrees away from you, is one of the most famous people on the planet, you can basically connect yourself to anyone that's in show business.
Maybe.
Not to be rude, but go ahead.
But I think the more obvious connection is that the middle name Doyle makes no sense, and neither does Jamie Lynn Spears. So let's move right into it.
Oh, okay. He's coming in hot.
Christopher, we're starting volcanic with this one. I can't. This was on my we did a Patreon episode called The Unfixables, and for a hot second, Jamie Lynn Spears, who I refuse to make cooler by calling JLS, so no one do that on this podcast today. Do not do it.
I love make her cooler. It's like the JLS challenge. Actually, this is what this is doing.
This is the
JLS challenge.
But you know,
I don't see a single bucket.
I am guilty of referring to her as JLS quite often. Actually.
Oh,
Evan, don't admit that to us.
It's Jamie Lynn Spears today, though. Jamie Lynn. That's it.
Jamie Lynn Spears.
Jamie Lynn.
And there was a second one I thought she'd be unfixable, but Chris truly talked me into it and said he believes that this is a salvageable human being.
Oh.
Guys, it's okay. I'm not jumping ahead, but like it's a no-brainer. In my opinion, this is a no-brainer of how to fix her, but I digress. How do we start with? I mean, Jamie Lynn Spears is the sister of one of the most famous people of our generation, Miss Brittany Jean Spears, Esquire, published author of a record-breaking best-selling book.
You son of a bitch. How dare you keep calling her that? There were 3 ghostwriters. Look, I'm fine with this. Is an ongoing fight with Chris and I. Keep calling her a published author.
We feud over Britney every day. And he's like, when's the second book coming? I was like, as a Britney Spears like apologist, like no one cares about the second book. I'm assuming both of you love Britney Spears. Do you care about the second book?
I care about anything Britney Spears does. But, and I will say,
are you begging for the second book?
I feel the second book will be, she's like, oh, did I say that? Like, I feel the second book might get her into some hot water about like, she would like maybe remember something a little bit differently, or she could be like, I feel there were like some names that weren't named that I would like the second book to just
that's
be like,
what I
and
think.
Another fucking thing. Like if it's that.
That should be the title of the book, Danny. And
like,
another
just with
thing.
her like Marlboro out, like I would buy that in a second. If it's still like picking up the pieces, I'm okay on that front.
I feel like Britney needs to I feel like she needs to take some time before she writes a second book, because I'm glad that she got her story out as fast as she did. But I think to like really tell the whole story, like there's some more healing that needs to be done. I will say though,
like
that
decades of it.
Yes. And unfortunately, like we only have so much time on this earth.
Correct,
so I don't know.
On this earth.
You know,
it's not what
like,
I thought you were going to say.
I
think you're saying on this podcast to help
race.
us like on this earth.
He's getting really introspective over there.
No, like what Britney was like literally like tortured and held captive for 13 years. And I can't imagine what that does to someone's soul. So I don't know. And it's so sick and twisted what her family did to her. And it just fucking sucks when you think about how there probably isn't enough time within the rest of her lifetime to really undo all the damage that her family
God,
did.
no.
You know?
Yeah.
No doubt. No
not
doubt. No doubt.
So on the back of all of that pain and suffering, Jamie Lynn Spears is on All That. That's where we first find her as like not just Britney Spears' sister, but is actually on All That. And I was forced on Chelsea Devantez's podcast Glamorous Trash to read Lynn Spears' memoir, where when I tell you that she describes Jamie Lynn Spears' career and Britney's career as if they were in tandem with each other.
Oh, but that's a mom. That's a mom. You know, like you have people where they're like, no, all of my daughters are special, and it's like,
yeah. And she's on All That, and then gets a show on Nickelodeon called Zoe 101, which I feel like is like where people our age like really found her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just basically, I mean, what was the show even about? She was just like a girl at a boarding school, right?
Eating sushi. Because I remember I being like, that looks amazing.
Yeah, she did eat sushi.
Just for clarification, there are 4 of us in this room right now, and when you say our age, you mean the other 3.
I'm not talking about you.
I don't want anyone writing in about it. Like, yeah, we get it. Go on.
Dominic, have you ever seen an episode of Zoe 101?
In order to do research for this podcast, over last weekend, I tried to watch 1 episode of it. I was unsuccessful, but I did get the gist.
Can I tell you, that was kind of me watching it, and it was supposed to be catered for me. I was like,
this is when you were 12.
It didn't do that much, because I think I was just like, I'm like, okay, they're like from LA or California, and they like have like this cool school. Like, that doesn't fucking change my life. Like, that's not what my school looks like. Like, it didn't appeal to me, but it did make me want to eat sushi.
I didn't like tune into it in the same way that I tuned into Lizzie McGuire or that.
Yes,
and
correct.
Like you were saying, Jenny, like the show was like built for us, and I feel like it was specifically built for me as like a die-hard Britney Spears super stan from like the age of 7. But yeah, for whatever reason, I like didn't keep up with it like week to week. But I will say the best part of that show was the theme song that Britney wrote and did background vocals for. And you can actually, there's a mix of it that puts Britney's vocals with Jamie Lynn's vocals together. And I wish that Britney just like released the full thing herself, because it is so good and so magical. And Jamie Lynn should feel so grateful and blessed that Britney lent her songwriting abilities and background vocal abilities to be on that theme song, because that truly is the best part. And then I don't know if y'all caught it, but Jamie Lynn did like a remake of it in 2020 before we knew she was a bad guy, and bitch, I was living for it. They did some new sparkly production on it, and it sounds so good.
Yeah, to hide her voice.
Oh yeah, there was a little bit more use of auto-tune, but I love auto-tune. So
same.
Look, you're looking at the world's biggest Cher fan here, so vocoder, auto-tune, whatever, bitch.
Dominic's middle name is auto-tune. And Dominic, I'm just going to clip some of this audio of Evan. So when you make fun of me for being like a Britney Spears fan, I can just replay this to you and like just remember that you're getting it mild every week.
Right, because I'm not assaulting him the way I do. He's a guest. We treat company
I'm just saying
a certain way.
Know that the fandom goes deeper. Know that the fandom goes deeper than me, okay?
And sometimes, like, I'll meet people and I'll be like, "Whoa, I thought I was a fan." Like, it really does go deeper. But you can ask Danny. Like, I bring up Britney every single day. I count my life in Britney's. I relate everything back to Britney. She is I don't know.
I am putting money on you wearing a Britney shirt right now. Like, I'm trying to form the words of Lucky. Yeah, no, exactly.
Yes.
Like, yeah, the second I saw the Y and I was like, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
And to be clear, I am not a non-fan of Britney Spears.
I know.
I'm joking. So we're clear. No, but I don't want all those insane people who are like Evan to find my home. I'm joking, but I'm not a non-fan of Britney. I do love her. I just didn't, she's as someone my age would say to people your age, she was your Madonna. I mean, she was just,
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Evan, you have interviewed Miss Jamie Lynn Spears.
Yes, I have interviewed Miss Jamie Lynn Spears, and this is back when I was at the Hollywood Reporter. The month was May 2020, which was an insane month for many different reasons. And I was bored out of my mind in lockdown, and Jamie Lynn Spears had a show coming out on Netflix called Sweet Magnolias that I don't think the Hollywood Reporter was necessarily interested in, but me.
You were.
Yeah, I was like, can I like see if I can talk to Jamie Lynn Spears? I'm like,
I did watch that show. It was good in a very religious way. It was what I needed in May 2020. I was like, oh, I'll get vaccinated to go to church now, I think. Like, it really almost converted me.
It was very wholesome. It was a cute little show, very like Hallmark movie vibes. But yeah, so I reached out and like almost immediately they were like, yeah, of course, like she would love to talk to the Hollywood Reporter. And so I prepped for this interview as if I was like Diane Sawyer or Katie Couric. I was so excited because at this point, Free Britney was kind of like an idea, but it was still kind of like, is it a conspiracy? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it wasn't like a bona fide movement of human beings yet.
Right. Exactly. Like, people who believed in it were like crazy. So like, at that point, we didn't know that Britney felt the way that she did. about Jamie Lynn. So I was like, all systems a go. Let's go. We talked about the show. We talked about her teen pregnancy. We talked about the Zoe 101 reboot that she was pushing even back then. That took a minute to actually happen. But the month, May 2020, was actually the 20-year anniversary of Oops, I Did It Again, the album, which is, I think Taylor or Adele might have beat it. But at the time, it held the record for like the highest selling female record, 1 week sales, etc. So we were giving Oops, I Did It Again the moment that it deserved. And I was like asking her about that time and reflecting on Britney's career, etc., etc. And this should have been a red flag. I was like, what is your favorite song from that time? And she, what did she say? I think she did say Lucky was actually like her favorite song, but she made an incorrect reference to a tour or a performance that happened on an incorrect. I forgot exactly what it was, but I was like, girl,
like she didn't have her facts straight. Yeah. Well,
like,
guys, newsflash, she's not, by the way.
She's not, no. Oh, pull up into Sri Lanka. Am I a Britney fan?
Yeah. Right. So I was like a little disappointed, but I was like, girl, you don't even know your Britney tours? Like you went on one of them.
You were there.
Wait, I'll give her, this is, okay, the first defense for Jamie Lynn Spears.
It's going to be from you, Danny?
Yes. I mean, if it's like your sister, and she's like, she probably was like, wow, the Hollywood Reporter wants to interview me about my Netflix debut. And they're like, so when your sister did a tour 20 years ago, and so she did a tour 20 years ago, what was your favorite dance move? And she's like, how about when I made muffins on episode 4? So maybe she was in clear mind. And maybe it's kind of like that sibling thing where she's like, do I know everything my sister has done? Only that was before direct deposits existed. If you asked her something she did after the Britney checks started coming through, I'm sure she'd be able to have her accountant help her out with that.
Well, right. And she was looped in on the emails with Lou Taylor and her father.
Yeah.
Probably.
But back on then, it was just, she was texting on Excel. Like she didn't know all
she
was
things. Texting on Excel.
Well, like, I guess.
I feel like, yeah.
No, that's a deep cut that I think I'm the only person that understands.
Well, you mean Nelly and Kelly, right?
Yes. Oh my God. I mean, in her own book, Jamie Lynn Spears is like, we were of equal talent. Like she truly believes that she's just as talented as her sister. And like the infamous story that not only Jamie Lynn, but Britney and Lynn Spears all tell in their books is like, when Britney comes back from this amazing, humongous tour and she walks in the door and like Jamie Lynn Spears is like sitting on the couch, like eating her dinner on like a TV tray and is like, oh, you're back? Like, blech. Like, and it's like, I wanted this. Like, I didn't want you to buy us a house. I wanted to, or what was it? It was like,
it was something like that. Like, I don't care if you buy us a house.
Like
and then she was like screaming at her mom to give her hot chocolate or something. I don't know.
Yes. She was like, I didn't want to buy a new house. I wanted you to buy me like a shopping spree or like something, like basically throws a temper tantrum that like her sister didn't buy her a good enough thing, which was like a home, like a new home for their family.
The way I'd also kill for her confidence to say like, no, I'm as talented as her. Like we each have our strengths.
This is what I think about celebrity siblings. I have an issue with them even existing. I think there should be one famous person per sibling group, and that's it. And I think it should be, if you do have 2 children that become celebrities, you should have to pay a fine or a monthly stipend to the government for infecting everyone with your family. Like, I mean, when you think about it, really, do we need Jamie Lynn Spears? What would the world be without Stephen Baldwin? Better.
Oh, well, that's a good one.
I mean, come on. But let's just look at it. Really, we could eliminate 9 Osmonds with this rule and make money off of it. Do you understand?
My head is going to the ones that I do like. I'm like Beyonce and Solange, but they do different lanes. Like Solange is like, you can be Beyonce. I'll just have my own vibe. And the Hemsworth, because they're both hot. I know there's a third one. I guess we don't.
Wait, the third one is
he was on Westworld.
The
third one is hot. The one that was on Westworld, he too is hot. Yes, they're all hot.
Dude. I don't know why he doesn't get enough like attention online. I feel like gays would love him. He's like juicy, and he's like a little short king. He's so cute.
Mm-hmm. He is. I didn't even know until dozens of episodes that he was a Hemsworth. I never made the connection until someone pointed it out, and then it was the only thing I could see when I looked at his face.
I feel like the Hemsworths get a pass. I feel like Solange and Beyonce get a pass. I also feel like Jessica and Ashley Simpson get a pass. But I always
Ashley's my bitch, so like she's getting a pass.
No, Ashley's the better Simpson sister.
No, I'm not saying as someone with cystic acne and was like chubby, not saying she was, and the worst bangs for 5 years in middle school, like that girl helped me more than I think I could put into words. So like, no, she stays sticking on the island.
Do you know which celebrity sister though I always felt so bad for was Haley Duff. I felt so bad for Haley Duff because she's the one who wanted to be a star, and then as legend has it, they moved out to LA to sort of like help Haley become a star, and then everyone started noticing Hillary, and then Hillary, like within like a year and a half, gets her own show on Disney. I cannot imagine.
And like the best show on Disney ever.
Show.
Yes.
Yes. On Haley's cooking show, she and Meghan Markle, before she became famous, had Oprah together. So there are wins.
And she hosted
Time out.
Danny, sometimes on this podcast, someone says something that Chris and I are not familiar with, and we have to come to a halt. Did you just use the phrase, the sentence participle, on Haley Duff's cooking show? Done.
And of course, it wasn't on Food Network.
No,
naturally.
And then invoked Dominic, and then invoked your queen, Miss Meghan Markle.
Is that your favorite person?
I need her to run for president of the United States. That's all there is to it. Or she should at least be the Secretary of Defense. She's up to something. Where is she, Evan?
Where is she?
And Danny, come on, page 6, boys. This is your investigation. She's been out of the spotlight for months. She's planning an attack.
I went to the Renaissance World Tour with her. Like, we sat separately, but we were there at the same night. So I should have asked her then.
That's fine. I know. I was at a party with Joan Collins last night as well.
Dominic and Kieran Culkin went to a party together last night.
We did.
Rock out with your Culks out.
Well, we literally spoke. We spoke at a party last night. It is true.
What did you talk about with Kieran?
I said, "Can I get a picture with you?" And he whipped around, looked me directly in the eye, and said, "I have to get back to my wife," and then bolted.
Yeah. You should have if you were like. Remember when Meghan Markle ate okra with Haley Duff? He would have turned around. He would have lingered a few more seconds.
Stop it.
He's like, have the cooking channel too?
You think I should have dropped Markle's name with him? He still wouldn't have returned to his wife if he knew we were going to talk about
He'd be with you right now.
The Markle Sparkle?
Yeah. So steering this ship right back on track.
Now we're like Jamie's career. It's like, where are we going?
Unlike Jamie's career, I'm going to write this ship. So she goes on, most recently, Brittany writes her book, and obviously like the entire world turns on the Spears family, minus Brittany. They become absolute villains. Wendy Williams calls for their death in a quote, in something that I quote almost every episode on this podcast.
Death to all of them.
Death to all of them.
That's so good.
Things aren't looking up for Jamie Lynn. So what does she decide she needs to do? Do the one thing that is foolproof for any celebrity to get back into the good graces of society, which is go on Dancing with the Stars.
I cannot.
She gets knocked off. And when I tell you my phone basically exploded in my hand like an atomic bomb when this was announced, because the number of people that were texting me like 911, 911, and I'm thinking like someone's dead. And they're like, Jamie Lynn Spears is going on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. Pop culture was dead. It was not an exaggeration. Everything died.
Yes.
And she gets knocked out in episode 2. I don't even think she makes it 3 full rounds and is knocked out of the competition. Apparently just as talented as her sister in dancing. I think not.
No, the stills that I've seen from that,
yeah,
it's not great.
Say that to be nice. It's not great. Evan was in the hotel with all them though.
But yeah, so actually another funny Jamie Lynn. I feel like our lives.
Now it's like you guys are friends, you and Jamie. Like the more you're talking, like there's too many overlaps.
Block her. Like you're gonna have to block your Instagram story to her whenever you have to post about this.
I honestly think
I know.
She's going to be up in those DMs and then come.
Are you her son, Evan? Are you her son?
I am her son.
She had a daughter.
He's the reason Zoe 101 was canceled.
We didn't even talk about her teen pregnancy. We have to talk about that, but tell your story first.
So my condo flooded, and
What if that was the story? And Jamie Lynn was the contractor.
And Jamie Lynn's the contractor. No, my condo flooded, and so we had to like move out of our place for a little bit while the floors were being replaced. And for whatever reason, the insurance hooked us up, and we got to stay at the AKA in West Hollywood, which is right on Sunset Boulevard. And the month was October/November, and that's when Dancing with the Stars is happening. And so like, me and my husband are like checking in, and like every day we're just like seeing like people from Dancing with the Stars, and then we put it together that like the cast from Dancing with the Stars is staying here. And I think like our first week was the week that Jamie Lynn got eliminated, and I was like, oh my god, like, you know, we know who each other is. Like, I don't know, I don't really want to run into her in like a post.
You're like, ugh, what happens if she like comes to like cry in my hotel room?
I don't know. I was just like, I don't know how to. I also don't want her to think that like, oh my god, Evan the reporter is in the hotel. Is he like following me? What like I didn't want.
There's a lot of avenues that could have been going.
Yeah, I just didn't want to like run into her whatsoever. And of course, like the night she gets eliminated, she walks into the lobby with a pint of ice cream and is just running up to her hotel room. Meanwhile, I'm at like the other end of the lobby, getting tea at the little coffee and tea bar. We're very far from each other, but like we're visible.
Also, you adding that was kind of a drag to her.
What?
She was running, huffing with ice cream. I was getting tea. So anyway,
it was just a detail I remembered. Whatever. I eat ice cream every day of my life, but she had ice cream in hand.
Like this fat bitch was like shoveling Ben and Jerry's into her mouth. I was having a salad and
dressing on the side.
You said ice cream, and I immediately was like, she's crying, like eating ice cream. Like, I just
how else? There's no better way to do it.
Yeah,
I didn't see any tears in the lobby. She was simply taking the pint up to her room, I believe. But then she ended up having a photo shoot because I saw on Instagram, and like you can because I live there, I like recognize all the rooms or whatever. And she did this like whole little like setup photo shoot, not with the ice cream, but like you can tell it was like on a selfie stick. I'll have to send you guys the post.
Not on a selfie stick. The way you have just thrown her into a bus and then like got her like mouth to mouth to push her into a pool.
It's revenge.
I don't know.
He's avenging Brittany right now.
It was not a selfie stick. She actually balanced the phone on the empty Ben and Jerry's and then just went to town.
There was a moment when I was like, okay, do I like say something or do I not say something? We were both very far away from each other, and I didn't have my glasses on or my contacts in, so it was kind of fuzzy, and I was like, let me just bypass like an awkward moment situation. But yeah, I don't know like what would happen if we were to run into each other, because like we do, like she knows who I am, and I interviewed her on the carpet while I was at Page 6 for the premiere of Special Forces season 1. And she like immediately saw me, gave me a hug, I think because she like remembered our fine chat from the Hollywood Reporter piece. And like, I don't know, like, I guess like when I like look at, like examine my interactions with Jamie Lynn, like she was very sweet and kind to me. I just, you know, I'm a Brittany boy, and like Brittany has said what she has said. But then the thing is, like, if you read the book, sure, she talks shit about Jamie Lynn, but then we wrap up the book by extending a lot of grace to Jamie Lynn and Mom and Dad. And it just like, I don't know, the whole situation is like so complicated because like your family does shitty things to you, but like at the end of the day, you are your family. And so Brittany's probably just constantly trying to like reconcile in her head, like, I hate you guys so much, you ruined my life, but like you are my sister, and like maybe I do want to like make this thing better, I don't know, etc. Anyway, so Brittany's complicated feelings about Jamie Lynn also make my feelings complicated.
You guys are connected.
Coincidence.
Oh wait, the Special Forces carpet, I will say this because this was weird as hell.
Was she in the first season? Is that what it was?
Yeah, she was in the first season, and before we got there, like there was like a mandate from PR, like a very strong mandate, like you cannot mention Britney Spears in any way, shape, or form at any time on this carpet. If you mention the word Britney, you will be
out of there.
Jesus.
Like,
you're like, what about Britney Snow?
Christ.
Yeah.
We were all like
scared shitless. But I was surprised, I guess, at the power that
But
she
that just
had
goes to show
that.
you the influence that they have to shut down those conversations. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
think about that. If
and
that
like,
was
we all
like,
agreed to it.
That was like when we already fucking knew everything, like, let alone when it's like Britney trying to like reach out for help. Like, if they can shut down shit when we already know everything, like, imagine what they did back then, you know?
Yeah, it
That
was
is
weird.
really
But then, of course,
something.
they're all just like asking about special forces and her kids and stuff. It's so weird to, like, I don't know, for Jamie Lynn to have conversations where and be in places like, I don't know. I wonder if, like, Jamie Lynn, like, I know she and her mother believe that maybe her career worked in tandem with Britney's, but like, I wonder, like, when she's like at home alone in bed and thinking to herself, like, is she ever able to truly acknowledge to herself that, like, Britney Spears is like the reason why people
know who she is.
Live.
I think she has to.
And not saying that she can't carry a tune or give what needs to be given in a Netflix Hallmark card inspired series. Like, sure. Like,
Slam.
Like, I don't know. She's doing what needs to be done in certain areas, but like, she wouldn't have the opportunity to do those things without
her sister's coattails.
Yeah. I almost want to give her the benefit of the like, I instinctively, I almost want to blame Lynn Spears for Jamie Lynn because,
of course, Dominic, yes.
but no, this is who I'm playing devil's advocate with. You know, there's no roadmap. Like, when you have a successful child, particularly one that just became an instant icon the way that Britney did. I shouldn't say instant. I mean, she was a child performer for many years before she became, you know, the underlined version of Britney Spears. But when she did, you know, after whatchamacallit, Baby One More Time, when she just became an overnight juggernaut, there's no way to know what the right decisions are when your kid's that famous. We get it. So, but, you know, the dad had his own designs that what I'm sensing, having not read any of their written words, any of the Spears Publishing Dynasty's works,
the trilogy,
any of it. You know, I would imagine that the mom was sort of hell-bent on keeping it as normal as she could and maybe not letting Jamie Lynn fall through the cracks, because obviously the dad was unethically doing many unethical things to the older daughter and the moneymaker behind the scenes. So the only devil's advocacy I would give to her is that, like, I get where she's trying to let this girl not fall through the cracks. Then she gets pregnant when she's, I believe, 16, and it just was, you know, a bit of a mess. However, you know, Jamie Lynn Spears is an adult. And from what I understand, having been blessed with no siblings, I don't know for sure how this goes, but it would seem that the bond between sisters, from what I know, is something that should transcend many things. And despite what you're going through, even with evil parents, that you'd want your sister to sort of represent. And that's, tell me if I'm wrong, but that's sort of where the villainy comes in, is that Britney feels like Jamie Lynn should have been standing up for her because she knew what was happening. And then just
but instead was capitalizing on it. Like, one thing that Britney, I can't remember if this is in the book or not, but I know that she wrote it in like one of her insane Instagram captions.
Oh, yes.
Books
like, in oh, right. Yeah.
When which is a book in itself, by the way. But when Britney talked about like some tribute that they did to her at either the VMAs or like the people's, like the critics, I don't know, the American Music Awards or something like that. And it was like Jamie Lynn performing all of her biggest hits, like in a mashup, like to her. And Britney was like, I was furious because I always wanted to do like like exactly what she got to do. And instead, like, they let Jamie Lynn do it and not me
with her songs. I wonder if Jamie Lynn
knew this was like my dream to do this. And she like did it instead to me. Like,
so for the press for that, was anyone allowed to ask Jamie Lynn about Britney, or was she just going to say these songs were ghost written and performed prior to her arrival?
Pick some songs out.
So crazy. Yeah. Also, that was like such a weird tribute. It was the Radio Disney Music Awards, which, like, I mean,
awards are with like like eagle wing, like air quotes.
Literally, like, you just made the Blockbuster Awards look like the Nobel Prize.
It was Sophia Carson, who was on the Disney Channel doing Baby One More Time, Kelsey Ballerini doing some like country version of Oops, I Did It Again, and Kelly Steinfeld doing some like cute little sexy version of Circus, and then Jamie Lynn comes out and just, you know, sort of like prancing around on stage doing Till the World Ends, singing over her sister's vocals. But I think that if Jamie Lynn had known how much it meant to her sister to like want to update her Vegas show with like remixes and new versions of the songs, and then to like agree to do that and surprise her, that seems just kind of cruel. Like what she should have done, like in my opinion, if like that was my sibling situation, I would have been like, hey, like this is what they're doing in the tribute. They asked me to be a part of it, but I know that you've been kind of like working really hard behind the scenes to do this yourself. I think this is fucked up. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to like allow you to say something to management, etc., whatever. But obviously that's not what happened. And I think according to like Britney's testimony, like Jamie Lynn didn't have her best interests at heart really ever. Although Jamie Lynn claims up and down that she is the one who encouraged Britney to get her own lawyer, but the people that ended up getting Britney or helping her get her own lawyer was some girl who worked on her social media team, and then her manager
and like a nurse, like an errant nurse at that like insane asylum.
The nurse at the asylum is the one who like showed her all the free Britney stuff, and Britney was like so grateful. I don't know. If there were people like out in the streets picketing and doing all this stuff, and I was Jamie Lynn, like I would be the first one to run to this, like, first of all, this place she was at, it's in Beverly Hills, but it is nasty as fuck. It is like so disgusting and so sad. Like driving past it, you're like, I cannot believe that like the one and only Britney Spears ever stepped foot in there. And then she was like first held in solitary confinement, and then they put her with the masses. And so like imagine that you're like this like, you know, recovering meth addict in this like dingy Beverly Hills recovery center, and all of a sudden Britney Spears walks in.
Britney Spears is there, and you're like, hello.
You're like, what is going on in the brain? Yeah.
Like, am I on it again? Like, am I? Like, what's happening?
Unfortunately, oops, I did it again. Yeah. But
the first thing I'm thinking is, holy shit, I know who I'm pairing up with for the unit for the talent show. I'm kidding. I'm going to beat everyone's ass to pair up with Britney Spears.
You would think even Jamie would just read the vibe and be like, oh, I got to shift my allegiance to just start like kissing ass.
That's the thing too. Like if Jamie Lynn had shifted her allegiance, like, do you know
we
like,
would love her.
Uplift a girl like the gays can.
Yeah,
but the gays would be 100% behind her. She could release an album. She could literally do whatever the fuck she wanted if she had just made it so apparently clear from the get-go that she was pro Britney, that she was free Britney. The thing is, she wouldn't even say the word free Britney, and she also like diminished the cause by like suggesting that it was just like a bunch of cuckoo conspiracy people, which is just sort of like an echo of what her father always said about it. So clearly that was her sort of aligning herself with her dad, who like obviously is not the one.
Yeah, no, and that's it, period. I mean, that's the last minute of what you just said. That's why we're even here. You know, everything, if she was a kid, whatever, like when you're an adult is when you have to undo the brainwash. We all have to do it to a certain extent. Like you got to just take responsibility, and you can't at a certain age say, yeah, I was raised fucked up and that's why I'm making all these decisions currently. You do reach a point where you have to say, I'm going to correct it. And she was so unwavering through the whole thing. She had many golden opportunities. After the audio, you know, the audio tapes of Britney came out in 2021, we all listened to that testimony. That was the moment when she was supposed to come forward and say, you didn't have to say, fuck my dad. You just needed to appear with your sister anywhere and show support. And she really wouldn't do it. Like she just could not do it. It seemed like the easiest choice too.
It could be like what the royal family does, and they're just like seen together. Like that is all that needs to happen. Like it doesn't even need to be her like holding a free Britney flag and then marching, being the like conductor of the fucking parade. Yep. She needed to be at a coffee shop with her sister, and that is staged for paparazzi. That's what needed to happen.
It could have been so simple. Like I know that Britney and Christina later had a moment on the internet because Britney felt like Christina didn't speak up about her conservatorship when she should have at the Latin Grammys, whatever. That was a whole mess. But after the 2021 recording of her testimony came out, Christina, I don't know if you guys remember like the statement that she released. It was so beautifully written, And it was like literally the most touching thing I have ever read, but it was just her like showing her support for Britney and standing behind like a woman who like clearly was abused or like oppressed under like misogynistic rule, like whatever it was. Like Christina made sure to say something, and like Britney and Christina have history. Like it could have been as simple as like Jamie Lynn just like releasing a really nicely written Instagram message. But
I mean, Lauryn Hill said it could all be so simple, but you'd rather make it hard, and that is what Jamie Lynn Spears has done to herself.
So the question is, what does she do now?
Y'all tell us.
Anything else that we need to say about Jamie Lynn before we go to the pitches?
I think this bitch needs to be careful because Karma is already going after the dad, and he's going to pick them off one by one. And you better be careful, baby. You better do something. Whatever we come up with here, bitch, you better listen to it because you are in danger. You are in karmic danger.
He already lost a leg. Yeah, if you want to do Dancing with the Stars again, Dancing with the Stars Australia, girl. Get in the mouth.
Oh my God. Oh.
I mean, she doesn't need both, but it would help her. I mean, maybe last the second round.
Danny and Evan, page 6 boys, as I call you. We are going to now do our pitches, and then you two can confer. You can ask questions. You can do whatever you need to do, but then you guys have to make a decision on who you think is the winner of this pitch off. Jamie Lynn Spears.
Yes.
It's in my opinion so fucking easy. You have had every single opportunity possible to be good, and you've flown past every single opportunity at 900 miles an hour. You don't want to be good. You want us to like you for you as a person, not your being the sister of Britney Spears. So what you are going to do is lean into, I'm taking a note right out of Dominick's book, you are going to become a reality TV villain, period, done. You are going to go on every other House of Villains first contestant of season 2, Jamie Lynn Spears.
And I'm watching that.
Like, go on RuPaul's Drag Race and let them all make fun of you to your face. Like, go on Big Brother, go on Survivor, go on all, like Special Forces. Like if she did Special Forces, like that seems like that makes Survivor look like a walk in the fucking park. If she can do that even for one day, she can do any reality. Go on Love is Blind. Go on any show and just be a fucking villain and just admit to the world that you're a villain. It's the only thing that she has left. Like she keeps trying to be like, yeah, and then me. It's like, no, all we care about is your sister. Like no one gives a fuck that you're on Dancing with the Stars. Everyone is just like watching it to watch you fail because we fucking hate you because we love your sister. Period. So lean into the fact that everyone hates you. Like guess who was a really successful reality star? Omarosa.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay.
New York.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, think of these people that have come that we still talk about today that are villains. Like, if you want to go Survivor, like Johnny Fairplay. Like, remember that when he said his grandma was dead, and meanwhile he said my grandma's on the couch watching Jerry Springer. Like, we fucking loved those people. That's what you need to. If you do that, we will all forgive you, and that is my pitch.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, I love a good lean in. I love a lean into your most.
It's what you.
Qualities.
I'm surprised if you don't.
It wasn't even on my radar. It wasn't.
Oh really?
You want Sheryl Sandberging?
No, not this time. No, I do that a lot, but no, this time I have to be honest. I feel like there just isn't a world where forgiveness is going to be an option for this woman by the people who she would be seeking it from. Like my mom and dad, I don't know, they wouldn't give a shit. Me, probably wouldn't give a shit. But you three millennials, this is literally like, there is nothing. This Jamie Lynn could be crucified in front of you people and you'd be like, she's not hanging straight enough. Like there's not going to be a thing that she's going to do. So the only thing is like, you just need to let her stew in her own juices. And if this is never going to happen, Jamie Lynn, this is never going to happen because it needs participation from way too many people. But if the argument is always like these two were always equivalent and I was robbed of my spotlight because it was always about Britney, just do a versus with Britney versus Jamie Lynn and let's settle it once and for all.
Dominic, God,
and that is my pitch.
Okay.
My God.
I would die.
I would be crucified. Like, I would crucify myself after that. That's all I would need.
Look at Chris.
I didn't know where you were going for so much of that.
Devastated.
Wait, I feel like if Lynn were listening,
I
do
so much. I fucking hate you. Fuck. I'm so fucked. Okay.
I kind of want to like pretend to deliberate to not make it such an obvious.
God damn it.
Okay, but here's what I'll say. If we were to do a versus Britney versus Jamie Lynn, that would be so incredible. Of course it would be incredible. That would be so hysterical and just so wonderful to watch. But if we did the reality TV villain route, we would have more opportunities to see Jamie Lynn and all her villainry. Like the verses would be like, well, actually, yeah.
I'm thinking the NPM memes per minute and the versus memes.
Yeah.
The reaction gifs that would come from that.
In a desperate plea, I'm going to ask you, does this, at the end of the day, we are fixing Jamie Lynn Spears, not Britney Spears. That's all.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So Dominic, your route, your pitch is you're kind of ending Jamie Lynn Spears. You're not really fixing her. You're just kind of like,
yes, and that's why I started. That's why I started this journey with I don't think she's fixable. Like my parents would be like, "Oh, she's a nice girl," but you know what? The three of you, she's never going to do anything where you're going to be like, she's back. Where you really earned. I give up. You can disagree if you disagree with that, then you have to disagree with my pitch because I'm basically saying she's unsavable. The versus with Britney is also a lose-lose situation for her, but at least we know we've given her the opportunity to prove her points.
I kind of am now thinking like bird's eye view though. The amount of like silly, goofy fun Britney might have doing a versus where it's like everyone enjoying her music and then they're in the green room together. You could it would be the ending in flames, but there could be something where they're like, why are we fighting? Because they are sisters at the end of the day. So they could have a silly sister situation happening where I could see you accidentally, like you're going for the KO shot of Jamie Lynn Spears. You could plant another seed there.
That's honestly that's a really good point, Danny. And I will say
they end the verses by duetting on Me Against the Music. That's
you probably aren't aware of this.
God damn it!
I'm trying to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. There is actually like an official Britney and Jamie Lynn duet. It's called "Chillin' with You." It was number 9 on Britney Jean, which is an album that many Britney fans don't widely even acknowledge.
We don't acknowledge. Yeah, we don't acknowledge.
Even though Perfume is like one of my favorite songs somehow.
It's a great song. That is a good song. But I encourage you to listen to Chillin' With You. It's now available in Dolby Atmos. You can really hear Jamie Lynn's vocals loud and clear. So.
These plugs are amazing. This is fantastic.
But I will say, I think that if we were to do a versus and say a sisterly moment happened backstage and Britney and Jamie Lynn made up, I feel like that truly could fix Jamie Lynn, because the thing is, like, I don't think we millennials, us Britney loving gay millennials, will be able to fully forgive Jamie Lynn until Britney does. Like, if Britney forgives Jamie Lynn, I'm giving her a hug when I spot her at the hotel.
And
my God, Jamie Lynn.
My pitch is how that happens, because you know how that versus could very well end is that they go back and forth with their numbers, and Britney tearfully looks at Jamie Lynn and says, "Hey, y'all. You really aren't good at all. I'm so sorry." And then they just hug it out.
Or like,
that might work. That might work.
The mic drop? She's like, let's get you that cup of hot chocolate. Everyone erupts. Everyone's crying. You're crying, Dominic. You're like, oh. My God, the sisters I never had.
And then Brittany's like, and I'll never buy you another house.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Jamie's like, but 2 of mine are foreclosed. I'm kidding, but maybe.
Oh, I had them for a minute. And now they're
I saw
right
what
back
you were
on
doing,
your
Christopher.
side.
I was like,
know,
you want to
you were so
do a
good.
post-pitch lobby? Absolutely
damn
not.
it.
I'm
You were close.
swinging right
And
back in the air.
I also know her girl. She like drops out of every reality show she ever does. So I feel she doesn't have the grit.
Oh,
to
yeah,
do the
right.
villain
You're
stuff.
right.
Because she did like, I'm a celebrity.
Yeah,
Get
she
me,
was
and they got her
like,
out
and she
of
was
it.
like, "Get me out of here."
She called the Uber. So I really liked where you were going with that, but I don't know if her staying power would help her.
You are right. Okay.
Like if she goes toe to toe with Omarosa, you think Jamie Lynn's gonna be able to survive?
No.
God, no.
In the Trader's House with Phaedra, I don't think Jamie Lynn.
No one could.
Oh my God,
No
wait
one
though. I would die to see Jamie Lynn.
I would love her on Traitors.
I would like to see Jamie Lynn Spears in the back of an Uber with Tiffany Pollard for 5 minutes. That's what I would like.
Honey, spoiler alert, she'll be driving the Uber in 4 years.
I do feel like if anyone could get Jamie Lynn together, and as like someone who is like a voice for every gay man, New York could do it. Like I wish she could just like Gemma Collins her, you know?
Should she be on the list? Should you guys come back and fix Tiffany Pollard because her career is not what it should be?
I'm afraid to fix her.
Are
I'm
we
afraid
plugging?
she'll come after you.
No, but it's coming from love. It's coming from love. Like, why isn't she the goddess that we all know her to be on TV?
Right. Like, I feel like she is capable of more at this moment.
But I almost feel like we love, if she was oversaturated, I don't know if we would want it that much. You know what I mean? Where
all of this we'll discuss on when you guys come back to fix Tiffany New York.
I would
Pollard.
happily. Oh my God, the
How
clips
about
I watched of her show still, it's so good.
Okay.
But another
I'm
clip.
assuming
Three people this week sent me a clip of Hottie from Flavor of Love telling Tiffany that she looks like that Hottie herself looks like Beyonce. Like, where did this come from? 3 separate people sent it to me this week. Why is it making the rounds?
Well, because
it was the 18th anniversary of that clip.
She says, Beyonce, you look like Luther motherfucking Vandross.
Yep. They cut away to Goldie's interview bite. He goes, Hottie, mental institution. It's a great clip.
I follow Goldie. I love Goldie. Okay, we divulged into
madness when she tries to learn Japanese, and I'll just let you guys Google that on your own time.
Okay, we'll Google that. I'm assuming Dominick wins this.
Yeah, I think we're gonna give Dominick the W here.
He deserves it.
It was like a Brittany versus Jamie versus situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But we were happy to be chilling with you, as we now know as a duet.
Chris is going to rescind that invitation to come
God,
back.
that was funny.
You're the
great.
Jamie Lynn of this podcast, Chris.
I am
Except
the Jamie Lynn of
the
this
difference
podcast.
between our ages is like 5 times what it is between Brittany and Jamie Lynn. So it's more like a Lynn and Jamie Lynn moment, really.
Okay, Photoshop request, me and Dominick as Jamie Lynn and Britney Spears.
Okay, also Halloween costume request. I need the 2 of you doing that this October 31st.
What would you wear as Jamie Lynn?
Running with ice cream, crying.
Yeah,
and then I'll be drinking tea.
I never said she was
a hot chocolate.
Who's walking with ice cream through a lobby not crying, Evan? Who's smiling in that situation? We can connect a dot.
And you did say that it was the day that she was eliminated. You said it the night of her elimination, comma. She was with a pint of ice cream.
That's what I would be doing.
Crying.
Yeah, probably crying.
Oh, God. Okay, Dominick, beautiful pitch, beautiful win.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Danny
Thank
Evan,
you,
this
Page
has
6
been
boys.
This has been an absolute whirlwind.
Yes, it has.
Page 6 boys, tell us where everyone can find you. Thank you so much for being on.
Oh my God. Thank you guys so much for having us. This is so much fun. We do our podcast. It's a video series. It's podcast platforms, virtual reality. It's every Thursday, but then we also drop fun interviews throughout the week too. It's kind of just, it's sporadically appearing 1 to 5 times a week.
Literally, yeah. Sporadic is definitely the word there.
And where can we find you guys on social media?
So I'm just at Evan Real, so find me there.
And you can follow me at Cashmere Danny, Cashmere with a K, across all platforms.
Dominick, where can people find you?
Lording over you in the verses that we're talking about, beating you senseless.
You're going to ride that right into the ground, aren't you?
Or you can go to my website, which is domentary.com, or at Dominick Pupa on socials. Chris, where can the listeners find you?
You got me with that twice.
You're welcome.
You can find me at the Chris DeRosa. You can find the show at Fixing Famous People. You can follow the Patreon at patreon.com/fixingfamouspeople. I wish you all well. And as always, where's Shelley? Goodbye.